So we look at what's going on, with some of the wrestling news and the fact that reports are going out that Bobby Lashley and MVP and Tamina Snuka have been removed eternally from the roster page, even though they're still on the roster pages on the website and everything, still technically employed. And of course, there are reports that certain contracts like Lashley's and everything are going to be coming up, but obviously he is a priority for WWE to keep. We know that. But all of a sudden, you got people talking about, oh, well, they fumble the ball and everything, and Triple H is, bad. Triple H is racist and all that, and it's like, you know, you read this and it's like, who are these people think? Who do these people think they are kidding? Is what I'm trying to say. Who do they think they're kidding? I mean, we see exactly, or at least I see exactly what's going on here. What I see is a lot of wrestling fans, pure pro wrestling fans, if you will, the hardcores, basically the ones that are known as the elitist for places like AEW. And what I'm seeing is them finding any opportunity trying to take a shot at Tony Khan. Not a shot at Tony Khan, but a shot at Triple H in support of Tony Khan. That's what I was trying to say. They're trying their best to take a shot at Triple H in support of Tony Khan to prove, in their eyes, Tony is better than Triple H. And isn't that ironic that it happens, all of a sudden when, AEW starts to regain some momentum? But the question obviously is, the question obviously is, why do they wait for this kind of an opportunity to do it? Why didn't they say this before? Why didn't they say this, the last time certain things happened or certain talents were put on or removed from the internal roster and so on? And, what was the issue? And the issue was AEW didn't have momentum. AEW was floundering. And, they weren't the AEW they used to be. Now, you're seeing, again, like I said, you're seeing AEW picking up that speed, that momentum. And all of a sudden, you got all these elitists, these supporters, reading this, hearing this, and going like, oh, here's our opportunity. And lo and behold, what do you know? They're taking the opportunity and trying to prove that TK is better than Hunter. I mean, all of a sudden, you're hearing them talking about, oh, Hurt Business could reunite in AEW. Hurt Business could reunite in AEW. MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. And it's like, first of all, MVP and Lashley have yet to leave WWE because their contracts are not expired yet, and there's a good chance that Lashley is going to remain. MVP, on the other hand, is just disgruntled. He's disgruntled because technically he could still go if he wants to in the ring. He just hasn't had the opportunity. Because the primary focus in WWE, and it's not just WWE, it's any wrestling promotion, is to focus on the younger talent, and especially those that can technically still go at 100%, if not more so. So basically what you get with MVP is just a disgruntled, upset veteran who's still under contract to the company. And he knows, obviously, that all he's really doing right now is venting his frustrations. He's publicly using X/Twitter to vent his frustrations and let it publicly be known because he knows social media is a powerful entity, and he knows it can help get them that momentum, get the attention needed. In MVP's mind, it's like, well, if I put this out there and people fall back, people fall through and follow me and follow through on what I'm saying and agree with it, it's going to get the attention of WWE, TKO, and in MVP's mind, what that will do is basically make Nick Khan and Triple H be like, okay, we'll reunite the Hurt Business, we'll push you, da-da-da. That's the reason he says these things. Not, it's, again, not just because he's venting, but because he knows on social media, it'll start to percolate maybe to something that will give him what he wants. in his mind, what the fans want. But again, though, outside of that, you're hearing fans talking about the Hurt Business going to AEW. You're having some people already saying that Lashley's been released and all that and da da da. And again, all these people are hardcore elitists and defenders of AEW or any promotion that's not WWE, as well as the fact that it's just also some people being trolls. That's the whole point. It's just a bunch of people, being trolls. You know, they want to see what kind of reaction you're going to get. Like Air Gold on Twitter, like elitist rockers, on Twitter. They just do it to get it. They're just doing it, and even people like the Prophet and Stone Cold Oh No on Facebook, Pro Wrestling World or Pro Wrestling Network. They only do that because they want to see what kind of reaction you're going to get. They want to see the reaction you're going to, basically, utilize, upon reading what they're putting there. So, long story short, all this really is when you hear fans getting upset of, oh, he's racist, he fumbled the ball and everything. First of all, they forget, as JD from NY206 off the script, basically bluntly put it in his video today. People seem to forget that the Hurt Business originated under Vince McMahon, and it was Vince McMahon that made the call to disband them when he could have easily kept them going, and basically gave Triple H, potentially one of the best factions, in WWE, and thus he could improve on it. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that whatsoever. He decided to disband it because it's like it's kind of like a toy, a shiny new toy that he just got tired of playing with and said, "I'm done, get rid of it." That's what it was. They seem to forget that. So look, people need to understand that, yeah, Triple H could have done better with the Hurt Business, with Bobby Lashley and all of them. Don't get me wrong. But Triple H had a different mindset for Lashley. Bobby, obviously, from what has been reported, wanted to work with the Street Profits. And guess what? That's what he was doing. He and B-Fab were part of the Street Profits. They were the Pride. He wanted to work with them. And still wants to work with them. Let's be honest. And basically, in the eyes of a lot of folks, that's a better suited faction, than the Hurt Business. Not saying the Hurt Business wasn't good, it was, but this faction is more like, hey, this could be a faction that, if built up, could give the Bloodline a run for the money. End of story. But people seem to forget that. They seem to forget that he, gave Bobby Lashley, probably by Bobby's request, an opportunity to work with the people he wanted to work with originally. You see what I'm saying? So people seem to not want to, allude to that or talk about it or remember what happened previously, all because they look at this opportunity, what MVP is saying or alluding to on social media, because again, social media in his mind and anybody's mind is a chance for them to grab WWE's attention, grab Nick Khan's attention, Triple H, R.A. Emanuel, and be like, okay, fine, we'll put it together. That's the mindset. And look, I don't blame him if he wants to go that route. He wants to see if maybe he'll get a result out of that. We'll see. But people tend to forget. They tend to forget that Vince McMahon could have kept this group going, but he didn't. He decided to end it sooner than it should have been. And it's on him. Triple H, I guarantee you, if the roles were reversed, if Triple H was the one running things at that time, when the Hurt Business formed, that group would still be going to this day. I mean, look at the Final Testament. Look at the Final Testament. Even though they don't have much going on right now, storyline-wise, guess what? They still have something to do, and they're still together. By now, Vince McMahon would have disbanded them, and Karrion Kross would be back in his Super Shredder outfit. Let's be honest. So, the point I'm getting at is this. When you hear people talk about Triple H fumbling this and that, you need to also remember that it wasn't Triple H that wanted the Hurt Business gone, sooner than it should have been. It was Vince McMahon. And that they also should remember that he was willing to let Bobby put something back together that was similar. So you get what I'm saying? So we need to remember that. We need to remember that the people that are doing this are the elitists that defend and support companies that are not WWE or associated with WWE. Because they want to make that company's promoter, in this case Tony Khan, look like a godsend. You know what I'm saying? And again, you ask yourself this question: where was this, several weeks ago, if not a month ago, when AEW was down in the gutters a bit? Now all of a sudden they got this momentum. You have to think about that. Also, you got to look at it this way. Ricochet may have edited his Twitter X account profile a little bit by taking out the saying of WWE's inspirational athlete, whatever. Because right now he's not with WWE, but it doesn't mean he won't be. He still has a link to shopwwe.com for his merchandise. So there's always a chance he's going to come back. And a lot of people were thinking, oh, he's going to be at All In. He's going to compete against Will Ospreay. Really? He's going to compete against Will Ospreay. What's crazy is you had this hologram guy debut on Collision, who's the formerly Triple H luchador Amaris, I think. Amaris. People thought him being under the hologram thing was Ricochet. Yeah. All because they're so determined to get him in there. And you know what that tells me too, is people are desperate to get what they want right away. That also tells me this too, that what the wrestling fan base today is, with a lot of this tribalism and non-tribalism, what this really is, mostly in the tribalism state, is you just have a lot of fans that basically, if they could, they had the courage, they had the fortitude, whatever, they would go and stand right in front of Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and Triple H, and Tony Khan of AEW and say, give us the power. Give us all your power. And then in their minds, if that was to ever happen, they take that power and be like, okay, now we're going to have this match against, this person from this company against that person against this company, and it's going to be a 120-minute Iron Woman or Iron Man match, and it's going to have barbed wire explosives and da-da-da. They would basically put together whatever they want to put together, whether it made sense or not. Because all they want is their dream matches. That's all they want. Their dream matches, their dream scenarios. And yet they don't want to come out and admit that. They don't want to come out and acknowledge that, oh, that's the reason. Because guess what? It is. It is the reason. So they need to just have the courage to acknowledge that, in my opinion. Because, when you see them doing stuff like this, saying, oh, Triple H is racist, Tony Khan wouldn't do this, and, oh, Hurt Business in AEW, what that really is just them saying, hey, if I had the power, this is what I'd do right now. Just admit it. Do yourself a favor, this week, and suck it up and admit it. Just say, look, if I had the power, this is what I would do. If I had control ultimately over all of pro wrestling, this is what I would do. Just admit that. Because every time you say stuff like that, oh, Triple H is racist, Tony Khan's not, AEW is going to have the Hurt Business, when you start saying stuff like that, even if the people you want in AEW are still contracted somewhere else, that's just you saying, hey, I want control. I want to have the ultimate say. I want to have control over everything. Just say it. There's nothing wrong in saying it, okay? Nothing wrong. You're going to get people giving you a difference of opinion in return, but there's nothing wrong, period. But, yeah, I just wanted to come out and talk about that. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. And by the time you watch this and listen to it, I should be in the Midwest. Let me know in Kansas by the time you watch this or whenever that is. But let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll talk to y'all later.